Now, the commercial airline Comair is back at the North Gauteng High Court today, where it's trying to put a stop to government bailouts to state carrier SAA. The court challenge is crucial as it could potentially lead to the closure of the loss-making airline if the court rules in favor of Comair. Comair went to court after the government granted SAA a R5 billion guarantee in 2013. Now, MBONGENI Muthwa is at the court in Pretoria. He joins us now. MBONGENI, good afternoon. We've heard from Comair's legal team earlier this week that the bailouts are illegal and that they severely hurt competition in the industry. What's the response been from those representing government today?
Well, first of all, I think it's worth to point out that the implications of this case are huge, especially for SAA. If Comair is successful in this application, it will mean that the guarantees that have been given to SAA in the past will be deemed illegal and unconstitutional, which means that they will fall away. What will that mean then is that SAA will be left exposed and there will be no protection for the creditors of SAA, the banks that have loaned SAA billions of rands to keep it afloat. And it will also mean that SAA can't rely on government to bail it out and fund it to keep it afloat anymore. And it could potentially lead to its closure because SAA is a loss-making entity. It hasn't turned in a profit in many, many years. This morning, government did get a chance to respond to the arguments of Comair, and they argued through their lawyer, Jeremy Gauntlet, SC, that in fact, they say that the bailouts are very much legal. They say the bailouts or these guarantees are constitutional inside the Constitution. He even used an example that anyone in the country is allowed constitutionally to go to the bank and ask for a loan. If you go to the bank and ask for a loan to fund, for instance, the university of your child, the bank will ask for some guarantee or security for the loan. So it says the same principle applies here. One of the things that Comair also has raised that the bailouts are not fair because they are not giving to other airlines, the commercial airlines, and that the bailouts or the guarantees are not transparent in the manner that they are given because they don't go through Parliament. When SAA asks for a guarantee, it doesn't go through to Parliament, and the representatives of taxpayers can get a chance to interrogate whether there is a need or not. And government has argued that, well, MPs are free. In fact, constitutionally, the Minister of Finance every year is obliged to give a report to Parliament on actions that they've taken and the loans or the guarantees they've given. And MPs are allowed to question the Finance Minister on the guarantees that they would have extended. Basically, that's the argument so far. Jeremy Gauntlet, the court has just broken for lunch. He's going to continue from 2 o'clock arguing until the rest of the day, Devin.
MBONGENI, yeah, that's interesting about the implications, and I was going to get to that. I mean, either way here, this would be quite dramatic. Comair saying that should it lose this case, it has to relook at its position in the country, and a win would be an equal game changer, wouldn't it?
Well, whichever way it goes, for instance, one of the things that Comair is saying is that since 1992, when the domestic airline market was deregulated, commercial airlines were allowed to come into the space and compete with SAA, which was enjoying a monopoly. They are saying 11 commercial airlines have entered the space, the domestic airline space. And of those 11, 9 have failed, 9 have collapsed because of the unfair competition from SAA. The case in point, the recent example is the One-Time Airline, which collapsed a couple of years ago. There's a lot of debate as to exactly what led to the collapse of One-Time. Comair says from their experience, it's very difficult to compete with SAA because of the state funding that it enjoys. It's difficult to compete with SAA in terms of fares that people can charge. And they're saying SAA is able to give clients specials and discounts that commercial airlines are just simply not able to match. So they are saying if they lose this case, it doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to pull out of the country or close the company and move elsewhere as such, but it will definitely mean that going forward, in terms of the investments that they make, buying new aircraft and so on, they're going to have to relook at that, because it will mean that the status quo will simply remain perpetually, Devin.
All right, just very quickly before I let you go, MBONGENI, so what happens next as far as court proceedings are concerned? We know that a ruling could take months to reach, but for the next few days and weeks, what do we expect?
Well, the hearing initially was set down for 4 days. That was Tuesday, today, tomorrow, wrapping up on Monday. But Jeremy Gauntlet told me unequivocally earlier today that this hearing will be wrapped up tomorrow. He is arguing for the state today. Tomorrow we'll hear closing arguments. And it's such a crucial case. It's not an urgent application. So the judge will really have a very hard time here applying his mind and coming to a decision, in terms of judgment. So the judgment is not expected to be returned anytime soon. It could take a few months, and when it comes, it will have huge implications for the domestic airline market as a whole, but most importantly for SAA as an entity. Devin.
All right, thanks very much indeed. MBONGENI Muthwa there at the North Gauteng High Court.